This is about the issue on political questions. So, actually my question is, Kovadi, where are we going from here? Because as of my last count, it would appear, this is just a personal observation, it would appear that I think there are already only 2 instances that you can declare a political question. The first one would be disciplining the members of Congress, which is actually was also under threat when I think Tevez filed his petition questioning his expulsion. The other one would be Congress's power to the exercise of eminent domain. As of now, if Congress would exercise eminent domain, it's a political question. But it seems that after those 2 instances, especially that with the decision in Duterte versus House of Representatives, it seems that, well, impeachment is it seems like it is now a political, is this now a justiciable question? So what would now be the future of this political question doctrine?
Well, if you recall, the reason why the framers of the Constitution gave the Supreme Court its extraordinary certiorari power, grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack of extended jurisdiction. They can strike down any act of a branch of government or agency. Branch, that's Congress, that's executive, agency, any other agency, if there is grave abuse of discretion, because of what happened during martial law, because of the excesses of the executive. So it's a checking mechanism on the excesses of the executive. I think if there's another constitutional convention, they would try to check the excesses of the extraordinary certiorari power of the Supreme Court because of this. The pendulum will swing on the other side. So, what is the direction? Well, if the Supreme Court will insist, we can review everything, all legal issues in impeachment cases. I think there will be a pushback in the next constitutional convention. They will try to weaken that extraordinary certiorari power. Because right now, the Supreme Court is saying, I want you to do this in 5 days. You say 3 days, you can do it now 5 days. I think I call it judicial overreach. Whenever you do that, you expect a pushback somewhere along the line. And that is what's going to happen. The next Constitutional Convention might just push it somewhere in the middle, weaken this extraordinary certiorari power of the Supreme Court. Thank you.
I have a follow-up, Justice. So, let's say that there would not be any constitutional convention, but I think if I can recall the past 20 or 30 years, I remember these cases, I remember this always in the headlines when I was still in elementary. If you can recall, I think the case of Paredes versus Sandigan Bayan, and I think later on, Defensor Santiago versus Sandigan Bayan. But these were instances where they wanted the member of Congress to be suspended. But I think if I can recall correctly, the Congress, of course, with Miriam, with the Senate, with Congressman Paredes, the House, they did not implement the preventive suspension. So, what if there would just be parang, what do you call this? There would be an odds. They're just taking odds at each other. So let's say, even if there is a finality in this decision, what if the Senate just decided, of course, the case is already still archived, but who would stop them from not following the decision?
Well, you're right. Congress did not implement that decision until Congress expired. Tapos na. Because that's the sole authority of the Congress to discipline its members. We will have a little crisis, but cases like that when it does not really affect the national national interest so much. It just affects the membership in the House. People will forget about that. No? But if it's a grave, a serious matter with the national ramifications, then the only correction really will be a constitutional convention. That's the only way. Because if the Supreme Court says we can intervene, we have to respect the Supreme Court, because decisions of the Supreme Court are final, even if they are not infallible. They are final not because they are infallible, but because there's no more appeal. We just have to accept that and then wait for a constitutional convention to correct that. Thank you.